Thank you for your support. And my question is regards to handicap placards. Do you research those placards in any
So
way?
we check the placards, we check for an expiration date, we do check if they look legit. I can understand your perspective because we do have some residents that tend to print something on the printer and put it on their dashboard and make it seem like that's an actual legit handicap placard. That's not acceptable. It has to be an actual disabled placard with the year that it expires. Most of the placards now have barcodes on them. We have accessibilities to check if they're legit or not. So we are checking very thoroughly to make sure that those vehicles that are displaying a disabled placard are valid disabled placards. If they find one that is expired, just looks off, it will be cited. So we will bring that up to the attention of the resident that owns that vehicle.
Yeah, the only reason why I ask that is because some of these people appear to have a full garage. They can't even get a half a car in there. And they have like 3 or 4 cars with these placards on them. I don't know anything about how many they're allowed in a family or what, but it just seems like they're hiding behind these placards.
And it's, we can't really pinpoint where these vehicles are at, and we can't really target certain individuals. We're just complying with what the ADA, right? The ADA regulations are, and we don't want to make somebody feel like we're harassing them just, because we feel that they might not have a disabled placard. We'll do our research. We'll do our due diligence. We'll do our due diligence in finding out if the placard is valid or not, and once we determine that there is validity to the placard, then we'll leave the vehicle be. However, if we do find a situation where we find a piece of paper that's printed, that's not acceptable. If it's expired, it's not acceptable. We'll continue our enforcement, though, on that.
If you find that they are using a paper one that's not valid, can you turn that over to the police?
Absolutely. 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 We'll do our documentations when we do find that are not valid, and we actually encourage our law enforcement to see if they can get to the bottom of what's going on. It's abuse of the responsibility, so.
Are you also checking the golf carts? There was a question back here.
Yes, we're checking golf carts as well. They do have disabled placards and where they are parking. If they're properly displaying those placards, absolutely. On the windows, yeah, on the windows, I'm sorry.
I have one other question. If we call Securitas because of an incident that is happening on the golf course, you do not have a golf cart, correct?
That is correct.
Is there any way that the master board can give you a golf cart? Have you?
Absolutely. In fact, I recently spoke to Joe Ganino about
Okay.
that, and he is in the works of actually trying to get a golf cart for my department.
Oh,
so that
yay.
way, our ease of access into the golf courses themselves will be a lot better.
Okay, so when somebody calls about something that's happening, you can get on the golf course right away?
Yes.
And not have to wait for them to get off on
Exactly, because
another-
what they're doing now is they're actually driving to the location, but they have to patrol the golf course on foot just to
Right.
get to where the incident took place. So luckily, we've been sometimes running into some of our artistic maintenance personnel, and they've been kind enough to give us rides where we need to. But we don't want to keep them from doing their jobs. We will respond regardless if we have the golf cart or not. But we are in the process of getting something done for our department.
Hooray.
Thank you so much for your time, folks. Appreciate it.
Okay, now I would like to, I'm going to introduce David Lara Talise from Supervisor Gutierrez's office, and he's going to do just a little brief presentation. I think you might need to use that. I don't think that one's working. Did it work?
It was just that. That's okay. I'll use this one.
I can switch them out.
Yeah. Good afternoon. I'm David Latateas, and I'm a Senior Issues Liaison for Supervisor Gutierrez. And Supervisor Gutierrez wanted to be here today. However, he had
a board meeting, and so I think you want him there, representing you and doing things there. But he's very fond of this community, and he really wanted to be here. I was sharing with Michelle that when he realized that Tech on Wheels wasn't here at Sun Lakes, he saw me at a staff meeting and said, why are we not at Sun Lakes of all the communities? So luckily we're going to be doing that. I wanted to share with you, Supervisor wanted me to share with you one issue. We know that recently there's been in the news about the overcrowding at the animal shelters. And there's two things that Supervisor did before this regarding the animals and their care. The first one was that there was only one county-run animal shelter in our district, in District 5, and it was in San Jacinto. But when we took office, that had been closed. That had been closed for a long time. Supervisor, his very first year in office, reopened that center. So number one, he reopened an animal shelter to accommodate more animals. Then very soon, he realized that there was an overcrowding issue, not only at San Jacinto, but throughout the county. But we only have control over the San Jacinto animal shelter. That's the only one that we really have jurisdiction over. So what Supervisor did, and that was actually earlier this year, towards the beginning of the year, Supervisor started what he called the Furry Pets program. Anybody hear of that? Furry Pets? Yeah. Okay, some of you get our newsletter. Yeah, there's Furry Pets, and what that was a way to encourage people to foster and adopt these animals. And what it did was you could first foster them. You would go and you would receive an animal to foster. You would get paid for receiving that animal and fostering it. If within 2 weeks you were able to find a permanent adoption for that pet, you were given additional funds. So it was encouraging people to adopt more pets. And it's been very successful, but it's only affected the San Jacinto Center because that is the only one that we have direct jurisdiction over. So I wanted to share that with you, and Supervisor wanted to because he knew that had been recently in the news, and we want you to know that he has been addressing it. Supervisor is really good about programs. The Furry Pets is one of them. But another thing that happened was that as his senior liaison, I was finding that there were seniors who wanted assistance with technology, with their laptops, with their computers, with their iPhones, with their Android phones. And we started to try to do something with our young adult group, but they weren't able to offer enough. So Supervisor did it on a grander scale. He purchased 2 fully equipped vans with Wi-Fi capability to have tech on wheels, to have a mobile technology to be able to bring to people. The reason we have the vans is because we can go to, luckily at a location like this, you have a number of different clubhouses where we can do these programs. But even if a community does not, the van is self-contained. It even has, and that's what I was going to bring up. Somebody had asked that question about Wi-Fi. It does have Wi-Fi capability. You have Wi-Fi here, so that's not really necessary. But if we went somewhere that didn't have a clubhouse, didn't have Wi-Fi, we could set it up outside and we could still do it remotely. We could still do the program. And we were very lucky. We were very lucky to be able to get a wonderful team together. And here to talk to you about his team is the Director of Broadband Services and the head of Tech on Wheels for District 5, Tom Mullen.
use this. Well, good afternoon, and thank you, David, very much. And again, my name's Tom Mullen, and I have the pleasure of talking about our Tech on Wheels program a little bit. And then I thought I would share with you one of the courses that we've put together around cybersecurity and online safety. And I thought we'd just sort of spend a little bit of time and go through that coursework here in a few minutes. But first and foremost, I want to thank David, and I want to thank Supervisor Gutierrez for their support in bringing this program forward. Really, as David mentioned, this program came about as part of our broader Riverside County strategic plan on how to close the digital divide in all communities for all residents. And really, that's focused on three primary areas. First is you need to be able to get internet at home. There are places still here in Riverside County, although they are dwindling, thankfully, where it's very difficult to get internet at home. Some of the rural areas, even some of the infill areas in some of the communities still lack home internet service. And so we work with AT&T, Verizon, Frontier, soon to be Verizon. We work with Charter Spectrum to try and ensure that when grant opportunities arise, that they focus on our communities to bring those fiber optic cables into the neighborhoods, bringing it to each home so that you can get internet service. The second very important piece of this is affordability. It's one thing to have it, but if you can't afford it, it doesn't do you any good. And so we actually had a program last year. It was a federally funded program called the Affordable Connectivity Program, something very simple. And it was a fantastic program. Expensive, a very expensive program. And unfortunately, that program ran out of money nationally last year. But what that did was provide a $30 subsidy against home internet service for those that qualified. And there were a very large list of individuals and households that qualified. Here in Riverside County, we worked tirelessly and were very successful in generating about 200,000 households signed up on the program. It was roughly $6.5 million a month in subsidies flowing into Riverside County homes during the life of that program. Very successful. Affordability continues to be an issue today, and the programs that are available really revolve around what's called Lifeline. And you may have heard of that because it also applies to cellular service. So you can qualify for Lifeline, and we can assist you with that. We have information on our website, as well as our team has some information that can help you with that. We have a call center that's set up, and I can rattle off the number for you, but we'll show it to you just the same. 866-922-1016 is our 1-800 call center that can help you sign up for these programs to see whether or not you qualify. And that would provide an ongoing monthly subsidy for you for either cellular service or home internet service. The third and really the piece that we're talking about today is around knowledge. And in order to use the internet, you need some digital knowledge. 95% of us here in Riverside County have a smartphone and utilize a cellular device most days. I'm lucky enough I get to carry around 2 of them. Lucky me. But these digital devices change every day. Whether it's an update that comes from my carrier, or whether it's something from the manufacturer, or whether it's an application that gets an update, there is always something going on that makes this thing different tomorrow than it was yesterday. And that means that you need to learn something new. Additionally, there are features and functions on this phone that you may only touch once, maybe twice, and you need help getting it done. Or you may be trained to do something, And you need to be able to ask for assistance. You need somebody that can help you. That is why we created Tech on Wheels. We recognize that everybody needs help. It really doesn't matter what you've done before you got to this point in your life or what you'll do after this point in your life. Whether you earned a lot of money, a little money, had a lot of education or very little education, it really doesn't matter. We've been gathering statistics on who we are interacting with, and it really is amazing to see that just about everybody in the community will raise their hand and ask for some level of assistance. And what we've tried to do is create Tech on Wheels and be in your community so that we can be that resource for you. We can answer those questions about your cell phone or your tablet or your computer. We can ask, or you can ask us just anything. And generally we'll know an answer, and if we don't, we'll tell you, and we'll research it. And we'll try and share the information that we can. We are in the business of trying to help residents understand how to use the tools that we all take for granted every day. It's a how-to business. What we can't do is we can't fix a cracked screen. I can't get the viruses out of your device if you've gotten infected. I can't upgrade your hardware. For those types of services, we generally recommend that you reach out to somebody like the Geek Squad at Best Buy. I know they're right here. They have the technical expertise and the ability to reach out through their large network of technicians to address those kinds of issues. What we can do, though, is talk you through it and help give you our best advice, and that's really what we've built the program around. As David mentioned, we have 2 vans. We've got one of those vans here today, and we've got our team in the back. I'm just going to take a quick second and introduce our team. I'll have them stand up. Noah. There's Noah. There's Karen. And there's Moaz. And they are part of our Tech on Wheels team. We have a 4th member of our team, Wes, who actually is on vacation this week. He was sending me text messages from Paris, France, as he's walking around and enjoying some time. These individuals work every day trying to help you and other residents throughout the 5th Supervisorial District with answering the questions that you may have about technology. As David mentioned, our vans do have Wi-Fi, so when we go to outdoor events, sometimes that's a Saturday morning event, could be an afternoon event, whatever it might be. We've got the ability to broadcast out and add a bit of public Wi-Fi to what's going on. We can do everything remotely that we can do in this room with the tools that we have. We really want to be a resource for you and for your neighbors. That's really why we're here and why we've got 2 teams out here 5 days a week doing this. Our program began in January of this year, and we are scheduled to run through next late fall of '26. We are funded, as David mentioned, through a grant allocation that allows our program to do what it does. We're putting together a request to try and continue the program out through '27. So if you like what you're hearing over the coming months, please share that with David and Supervisor Gutierrez's team as we try to make the case to continue these services. There's a lot of services that the county provides. It's a big place. As David mentioned, animal services is just one of them. But we've got folks doing program work that I don't even know, and I've been with the county for 26 years. I've been around, worked in several departments, and we do an awful lot of work from roads to land use, to environmental work, to flood control, to fire, sheriff, to behavioral health and hospital services and clinical services, to technology and HR and you name it. We've got somebody that's probably doing it or should be doing it. We are a very large organization in Riverside County with about 26,000 employees. Yes.
Do you have a schedule of places that you will be, or a phone number that a resident can call and you can come to our house?
It's a great question. We do have a published schedule. You can go to our website at rivcoconnect.org. That's RIVCO Connect, CONNECT.org. Rivco Connect right over here on our banner. Yes, .org. And we have a published schedule on there.
Tom, excuse me just
Please.
one moment. Please don't ask any questions of Tom just yet. Wait till he finishes his presentation because you need to have a mic because it's broadcast on Channel 97. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. The other question was about home visits, and we do not do home visits. We will come to the clubhouse, we will come to community centers, senior centers, schools, libraries, community events that are outside, but we do not do home visitation. It's a great question. So Tech on Wheels, we're here. We've got flyers, we've got folks, we've got banners up here. So if you have any other questions, you can feel free to ask about them. Otherwise, I'm going to talk a little bit about online and cybersecurity. Are there any other questions about Tech on Wheels that you'd like to ask?
Did you give out the phone number for us to call if we do have a computer issue that we can have a tech online?
Great question. We don't have anybody available to take technical calls remotely. That is a feature that we'd like to be able to institute in the future. I see the need for it to have technicians that can just be available. Many issues they can help walk you through, but we simply don't have the staff to do that yet. It's a great question, though. All right. I'm going to transition and talk a bit about cybersecurity. So let me change the screen here. Okay, let's turn this on. And let's just talk a little bit about it. So one of the topics that we routinely discuss is online safety and cybersecurity generally. And why do we talk about it? Because it affects literally everybody. It affects me, it affects you, it affects your neighbors. It is a topic that we always have to return to remember. Why do we do things, how do we do things, and how do we stay safe online? As an employee of Riverside County, we also do an awful lot of training of all of our staff. All 26,000 employees throughout the county have to go through routine, reoccurring, ongoing cybersecurity training, just so that it's top of mind. In fact, we use some tools to help trick, quite frankly, the employees with some bogus emails. We ask them questions, we send them emails to try and trick them into taking the wrong action. David and I and the rest of the team have all fallen for one of those at one point in time. They are very good. And we'll talk about some examples when we look at email, but it's one of those topics and one of those issues that we can always talk about. And so I grabbed this out of our deck of materials that we've put together, and we've put together about 10 different slide decks of coursework. We've put together an additional, I think, 10 different how-to guides. All of those are on our website at rivcoconnect.org. Feel free to look at any of those and download them, use them. Use them as your own, mark them up if you need to so that they're specific to you. As I mentioned, all of our devices are continually changing. And with Android devices, they can be slightly different than from one device to another based upon the manufacturer, based upon who the carrier is that's supplying the service, simply because of the software that's in there. So today I thought I'd just sort of talk about some of the basics that we have in front of us. Creating passwords, looking at usernames, security challenges. Do we have more than one? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Shouldn't be. Sounds like we got two mics on for a second. Got one? Okay. I thought we'd talk about just basic security, talk about how can we continue to think about it. Hopefully none of this is all new to you. Hopefully it's just a quick refresher, a reminder of things to think about. And that's really what we do. We talk about these things so that we can help remind each other. And then when you have specific questions, the folks in the back can help walk through and answer those for you. So just real basics. We all start with accounts. We all have online accounts for everything. I am certain that there are resident accounts here for Sun Lakes, just like there are for everywhere else. You've got your username and you've got a password. And what we think about is why do we create all of that? Well, so that we can identify. So it's not just anybody walking in and getting access to it. And then as you begin to narrow down, it has to do with privilege to more and more information. As we think about your Netflix subscription. Well, Netflix only wants it to be for you, not for the entire neighborhood. That's why they want each of us to have our own account and our own login credentials. Same with banking or health or the gym or the clubhouse, whatever it might be. Everyone has an account today to get to information and get to services. We all create these all the time. One of the things that we want to make sure that we're not doing when we're creating these passwords is reusing passwords or creating passwords that are too simple. These are all really bad examples of what a password should be. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh gosh. You're not seeing what I'm seeing, so how do we get that to see? Let's see, thank you. No, this is a presentation here. Now you see it, okay. And when I went to here, did it go away? Yeah, okay, so we won't do that. All right. My apologies, thank you for pointing that out. I'm gonna go back to the top just a little bit, share with you today's goals. Again, just the basics and the highlights. Safety, security, usernames, some common ways that criminals try to take advantage of us and try to take and steal access to our information or our money or our access rights to different services that we may procure. We talk about the reason for signing out. And then we talk a little bit about public versus private websites. I mentioned a bit about creating accounts. And really what I wanted to stop and talk about were some of the common passwords that folks have seen and heard in the past. That these are really basic and bad examples of what a password should be. Even for simple things like gate access or door access code. You really don't want to have things that are this common. You also don't want to use things that are easy to guess. You probably don't want to use your name in the password. You don't want to use your address in your password. You most certainly don't want to use the same password for multiple accounts. And that becomes very important as you look at banking, financial, health, things that are very important to you. And really to all of us. Do not reuse accounts or passwords. use phrases. What works best today is not the complexity of ones and zeros and capitals and lowercase and characters, but really the length of the password. So you could make it a password phrase. As we're standing here, we could make a password that says, my speech or my presentation at Sun Lakes on Monday. And today's Tuesday, though. So I'd put it in on Monday rather than Tuesday, and then there's no tie to me being here, per se. And then you can use capitalization. You can drop in a couple of characters in there to help at the end, in the middle. It's a phrase, though. And while those are complex, you're going to have to write these down or use a password manager to help track those, and I'll talk about that in just a second. In fact, I think is it the, yeah. Before I talk about challenge questions, I'll talk about password management for a second. It's important to use something. I can't even count how many accounts I have to log into at home, at work. There are probably 100+ different accounts that we've created over time. I use a password manager, something that works for me. There are lots of tools out there that can work for you. Norton Antivirus has a password management tool. Another one is OnePass or NordVPN. These are tools, and I've got them listed here somewhere in the slide deck, so you don't necessarily need to remember them all. These are tools that will help remember your passwords for you, as well as keep them secure. What these tools will do is take what you type out and turn it into gibberish so that you can't read it, and it's stored in a way that is not stealable, quite frankly. It encrypts the password as it's stored in place, as well as when it's transported between you and whatever site that you are accessing. This has a lot to do with basic network security and cybersecurity. And I don't want to get too far down that field, but on the password side, make sure that you're using individual unique passwords for each login that you have. It ensures that if, for whatever reason, let's say the company that you're logging into gets hacked and their data gets stolen and they steal all the passwords from the company, your password may get caught up in that. That's how, quite frankly, a lot of the data online has been stolen. It's not from the individuals, but rather from the corporations, from the businesses that we have to interact with. It's much easier for them to go after those big targets than it is to go after us individually. And so ensuring that you're using a password that is unique to each of those individual providers that you're interacting with ensures then that that password can't be reutilized for someone else. So your Netflix password has to be different from your Amazon Prime password, different from your Hulu password, Disney Plus password, your Paramount Plus password. There's a whole lot of online services these days. Too many, really. That's a whole nother challenge. Speaking of challenge, one of the tools that folks have utilized is a security question. And you see these on occasion, but you don't see them as frequently as you used to. And that's primarily because we're moving past challenge questions to really two-factor authentication. So when they say two-factor authentication, what they're really talking about is trying to ensure that you are really you. So let's say a hacker gets the passwords from the company you're trying to interact with. They drop those credentials in. A two-factor authentication would still prevent them from gaining access to your account. Because what a two-factor authentication is talking about is using a second method to ensure that you are you. In many instances, we still get a lot of text messages. So when you register, you'll have to give them your cell phone number. And then they send you a text message, and they want that 6-digit code that they text to you, which helps to ensure that you are you. Now, we all know that you could lose your phone, and someone could take that, and now they've got the credentials to get that two-factor done. But it's just another step that is very, very effective in helping to reduce cybercrime. There are other tools that can be utilized besides the text message, and that's usually called an authenticator, an authentication tool. Google has them for free, Microsoft has them for free, Apple has them embedded within their tool sets. It's not something you need to purchase, but it is another tool that you can utilize rather than getting the text message each time. What happens is you add, I'll just use Netflix for a second, you would add your Netflix account information and have it require an authentication code that could be generated by, say, a Microsoft Authenticator app. Rather than a text message, you get those same 6 digits from the Authenticator app, and it's another way to authenticate that you are who you say you are. It gets kind of complicated, I get it, and we're here to help you with that and answer those questions one-on-one. If you have any specific questions about how to do any of that, or if something is set up correctly, we can assist you with that. But two-factor is a very useful tool. Text messaging is very prevalent and still works extremely well to help reduce your risk. So I highly encourage you to utilize that each time. So phishing, and we're not talking about going out to the water hole. We're talking about crooks trying to gain access to our information and our accounts. And in many instances, these are those text messages, these are those emails. We all get emails. I get them every day. Somebody says that you won $100 something. Here's a $100 gift card, click on the link. Or today, they send text messages. Hey, is this photo of you? And it's a link to a photo, it's not a photo. When you click on that link, it's not taking you to a photo per se, but it's rather taking you to a place where they want you to enter in some credentials to get your information. They are trying to reel you in, thus the phishing, to their scheme. Phishing is just another way of saying they're trying to be a crook and steal your stuff. Whether they're doing it through a text message or whether they're doing it through an email. One of the easy ways to ensure that you don't fall for that is if you don't recognize it, do not click on a link, whether it's in a text message or whether it's in an email. Or if you type something into your web browser and it takes you to a page that you don't recognize, don't click on it. Don't click on any blue links that you see on a page that you're not familiar with. Same with the text message and same with the email. I see we have a hand raised back here. Can I take your question after? Thank you very much. The crooks want you to take an action. Merely by receiving that text message does not make you infected. First, really important. Just because you received a text message from somebody that you don't recognize, a number you don't recognize, doesn't mean you're suddenly infected. If you click on the link that is included in that text message, that's when you're physically taking that action and it exposes you to risk. So don't do that. I'll talk a little more about emails here in just a second. I've got a slide specifically for emails to walk through. When you may receive a text message that doesn't have a link, but it's asking you to respond with some personal information. If you don't recognize the person, don't give them your information. And that could be the same for an email. Folks are trying to glean information from you and from all of us, truly from all of us. I and my staff and my colleagues, we get these same solicitations, whether it's through email or whether it's through a text message. Folks are trying to steal our information so they can access our accounts or access our identities or pretend to be us. From a personal perspective, you should be looking to protect your identity, your access rights to your health and banking and financial and subscription services that you have purchased and utilize online, even your Amazon shopping account. You don't want to have folks accessing your Amazon shopping account because then they can generally access your payment methods. They can get to your credit cards or your bank cards or whatever it is you're using to pay with. You don't need that. There are other things that they will do with your account which are even more nefarious. They'll use your account to try and collect money from other accounts and then make big purchases or cash out your account. So limiting your clicks, for lack of a better word, is a good thing. When in doubt, don't click it. Literally, don't click it. Be cautious when you download something. And this starts to happen with documents, primarily through email. We all get them. We all receive documents from friends and family and those that we interact with online, businesses that we interact with. And the vast majority of those are just fine. Whether it's a PDF document or a Word document, generally speaking, businesses aren't going to send you a Word document. Friends, family, coworkers, colleagues that you're working a project on might send you a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. But a company, a business, shouldn't be sending you just a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. They'll send you a PDF or they'll send you a link to an online usually it'll be a receipt of some sort, maybe a receipt for services that you've had. Be aware of what you open is probably the best way to think about it. Don't open things that you're not familiar with. You can let it sit there in your inbox. You can look at the email. If you don't need to access the document, don't access it. If it's from, say, a financial institution, they're sending you a statement, a quarterly statement on something, or a monthly statement on something. Usually today, they'll just send you a message that says, hey, your statement's ready, go online and access it, in many instances. So you're not having to click on documents that could be infected. And that was a change that has occurred throughout the industry over the past probably 7 years or so. Just this big migration away from emailing you documents to sending you a message that you can go within your online account and access that information at your convenience. Those documents will remain online for a very long time, usually, years usually. And you can access them at your convenience without having to download anything. Okay, let me show you an example here, and we'll see if this pointer points. Is this pointer pointing this way or pointing this way? There we go. All right, so let me show you, this is an example of an email. And in this example, it is supposedly from PayPal. Now, I know not everybody uses PayPal, but today PayPal is a financial institution that does a lot of business in a lot of venues, not just eBay anymore. But PayPal, still in use, still out there today. This, and I apologize, this is extremely difficult, if next to impossible to read. What is most concerning when you see one of these documents and you question it, because maybe you don't do business with PayPal and you think a vendor sent this to you, somebody that did work for you, or oh, here's a great example. We all receive those emails that says that your subscription's been renewed for some hundreds of dollars, and it makes you go, wait a minute, I didn't subscribe to anything. When did this renew? Well, what they do is they send you emails with fake emails like this one. And one of the first things to look at is who it's from. What is the email address? What is the email address that it's actually from? And specifically, you want to look at the @ sign and what's after the @ sign. If in this example, and I apologize for being so small, this is supposedly coming from PayPal, but that address is not PayPal. That address is, it's too small to read, but I can guarantee you it's not PayPal. It's Peter Pan or something like that. We made up something when we put it on here. But it is not PayPal. It would say @paypal.com. That would be one. And it's always the first place to look. If you question it, look at trying to see the actual email address. I receive emails at home that say they're from me to me. I get them from me to me. And I'm like, well, I know I didn't send this. So you can actually hover over or click on that email address itself and see the actual email address. So you can, in many instances, you can fake a name. It could say Tom Mullen, but it's really from Peter Pan. And while being Peter Pan might be great, I'm not Peter Pan. And my email address is not Tom Mullen @Peter Pan. It would be the easiest and quickest way to find out whether or not something that you question is legitimate. And it's usually the first big tell. The next is you begin to read what the email is saying. And you're looking for things that are generic. This one, it says, address to PayPal. Well, we know that's wrong. It would be addressed to you. And it should have your name if it's from PayPal, because PayPal knows who they're sending stuff to. You then can look at the body of the email, and this is what's changing rapidly. Because of AI tools today, it's very easy to create a professional-looking fake email. So the body is very difficult to look at. The third piece that I didn't highlight here is this purple in the middle is a great big link. And without clicking it, you usually can hover your cursor over and you'll see a long, very long, what's called URL or blue link to go to something. And if it looks too long, don't click on it. Don't click on it. Because also think about, well, what did you buy? What did you do? What is really going on? And if this is asking you to log into your PayPal account, which I'm fairly certain it is, it's not actually going to take you to PayPal. It's going to take you to a website that looks like PayPal, and then it's going to steal your credentials when you go to log in. And then they're going to go to your account and steal whatever they can. If you receive something that you actually question, like, oh, you know, I had somebody come out and do plumbing work. I'm not trying to pick on plumbers. It could be somebody that comes out and does IT work. I'll pick somebody in my industry. And they actually did work for you. They may send you an invoice. That may be perfectly legitimate. But if you get an invoice from somebody for services that you don't recall getting, don't click on their stuff in their email. You can go to your account, log in through your credentials. You can check your bank account. You can check your credit card statements. You can check your financials through your normal process. You go to their website or go to their application, use your login credentials as you normally would. You don't click on anything in the email. It's much easier to validate whether or not, particularly for those things that say that they just charged you $460 for IT services, and you're scratching your head going, when did that happen? Those Tech on Wheels guys were nice, but I didn't think they were going to charge me $460 for it. Look at your account. Don't go at something that's sent to you. This is another one, just another example, trying to drive home the point by Netflix. And again, I apologize. I'm going to have to fix all of these slides. This email address is not from Netflix. I have to take my word on that. This is a fake email address again, although it says something Team Netflix in front of it. So it'll say Team Netflix, and then behind that, it'll have the actual email address, and that actual email address again. This is Peter Pan again coming to take us away. Again, we've got a very generic body of the email itself. And if you hover over this link, you'll see that it's not taking you anywhere you want to go. Today, you're getting less and less of the poor grammar because of the AI-generated tools. You can generate one of these with a couple clicks online without any accounts. It's very easy to do. And we can talk a bit about that and answer any questions about AI in a minute. Some additional phishing examples that I mentioned, the text messages. We talk about that, and they want you to call or give you they want you to take an action to reach out to them. And that's where they're trying to initiate a conversation to learn more about you, to gain information from you, to be a crook, to be a bad guy. I talked about the link. The example, congratulations, you just won, in this example, a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Probably not. It's probably just a way for them to get you to click on something. I don't recommend that you click on those things if you don't know where they're coming from. We do, self-included, sign up sometimes for contests. We'll sign up for contests. Usually they ask for more contact information than just your email, though. And they're gonna, if you actually won, they're gonna reach out more than once, and it's gonna be it's gonna be an email that's directed to you because you gave them your name. It's gonna be directed to you, and it's gonna be specific, and it's probably gonna have a telephone number for you to call. So one of the other things I just wanted to mention, and the reason I do is it happens to all of us, and that is, there are fake email addresses. I'm sorry, not email addresses, website addresses. We get fake email addresses too, but in this example, we're talking about website addresses. And it really could be anything. It could be here at Sun Lakes. As opposed to Sun Lakes, maybe it's S-O-N Lakes rather than S-U-N Lakes. And you don't really recognize it in the moment. You just click on it and you go through, and it makes you log in, and then your credential isn't working, and you question a second, pause. If something doesn't work as you expect, stop and look and read and think for a second. Am I in the right place? Am I doing what I usually do? And if you've got a website saved as a bookmark, go back and click on it, because that will ensure that at least you go to the right place. Because some of the crooks also try to fake websites all the time. And these simple examples, as opposed to going to Google, in this example, it's Google with a few extra O's in the name. But it could be something else on the end. It could be an extra L. It's misspelled web addresses. This example, while still is valid, is less valid today than it used to be. Many of the larger companies out there, think of any household name that you would interact with, have done a really good job of trying to shut all of these misspelled web addresses down. It's something that has been underway for several years, quite frankly, to try and weed all of these out, making it very difficult for crooks to stand up these fake sites. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it happens less often. And where it really happens, unfortunately, more often is in your small and mid-sized companies that you may interact with. We had a recent example of a company that got compromised, that we did business with at the county. Their website and their back-end server network got compromised. And as a customer to them, it wasn't transparent to us until we went to pay a bill and we received an invoice that wasn't valid for work that wasn't done. Even though we do business with them, it wasn't from them. And so we were able to alert them that hey, you've got a problem. And so we'd worked with them to square that away. That can happen to large companies, but generally we're seeing that in smaller to mid-sized companies because they don't have the sophistication of the network resources, quite frankly, to combat some of this stuff that the big companies do. So it's something to be aware of, but it's not something that's happening as prevalently from the misspelled web addresses. All right, so public and private websites really go hand in hand with Wi-Fi networks. So I didn't look, but I assume where we're standing, this room has got Wi-Fi in it. And maybe you need a password to log on to it, and maybe you don't. A great example is if you go to the airport. Many of the airports now have free, open, public Wi-Fi. A great service, really helpful, particularly when you need to reschedule a plane because your flight got canceled, or you're killing time and you just want to, poke around on your phone. But be aware of what you access when utilizing publicly unrestricted Wi-Fi networks, whether it's at the airport or your favorite coffee house or the library or anywhere else for that matter. The reason I say that is crooks can get onto that network and monitor the traffic that we are creating by utilizing it. And then they'll try to steal that information that you're sharing. That public network, depending upon how it's structured and how it's managed, can make that easier or more difficult. And the comparison is when you're at home, you're the one on it. There's a password that you need to use to log on to your network that you've created when you originally set it up, or somebody assisted you to set up, so that you, and only you, and those that you grant access to are on your Wi-Fi network. That is much more secure. Networks, Wi-Fi networks that you need a password to log into are always more secure than networks that do not have a password to log into. Because that means that they're fully open, fully accessible. I can see you, you can see me if you have the tools and the knowledge to do so. When we're using it as just regular folks, we don't really notice that, but the crooks do. And so be aware of what you do when you're on those fully public networks. I would caution against going to banking sites, credit card sites, high value subscription sites on a publicly accessible open network. Do that only on networks that are secure and private. The other thing that I wanted to share was about logging out. So whether you're at home or here, if you're on your telephone, your cell phone, and you're doing something and you log on to one of your accounts, particularly on mobile devices, log out. Make sure that you log out, because God forbid you lose your phone and you're logged in and somebody then figures out how to get into your phone. Now they're already not just on your phone, they're into your accounts as well. So mobile devices, it's really important. Tablets are a really important one. Tablets sometimes act a little differently, just from a security perspective. They don't necessarily have all the facial recognition and biometric recognition, depending on the age of the tablet. So you want to make sure that you're logging out of those devices that are easy to lose or could be compromised in a public space. Your computers at home, really, it's good practice to log out, but it's not as required as it is for those devices that you carry around with you. My laptop here, always log out, because God forbid I forget it, leave it somewhere, someone swipes it, then they would have access to whatever accounts I was logged into. So we don't do that. Same with my cell phones or tablets. I mentioned earlier just a couple of applications that might help you. And I just wanted to reiterate some of those. From a virus protection, you should have some form of virus protection on your computers. Some will say that you should also have it on your cell phones and tablets, and that's a good practice, depending upon how you utilize the tool. It's less risky generally on your cell phone than it is on your Windows-based or Apple-based computers, but it's certainly something worth having. And most of the phones today have some level of, they call it antivirus or security, online security tools built into them. Most of them do today. But if you need something, here are just some examples of some of the major manufacturers out there: Norton, McAfee, Avast, and the last one we put was Bitdefender. All of these are top tier companies that produce antivirus tools and then routinely publish updates, so that as new threats emerge, these companies are re-engineering how to protect you against them. And it's really what an antivirus does. As I talked about those links, many of these antivirus tools will tell you there's a bad link in here, and will try to quarantine or block that site for you, or get rid of that email or flag that email that this is a compromised email that you've received. And then it may want to run a scan. Let it run a scan. If it wants to run a scan, let it run a scan. If it wants to restart, let it restart. It means it's usually downloaded some additional updates and needs to refresh the application. Additionally, I mentioned about password managers. Bitwarden, which is free, is a tool that you can utilize to help manage your passwords securely. But so too is OnePass or NetPress. NordVPN is another one that's out there to help manage that. And then the last piece that I wanted to mention is about ad blockers. So this helps to prevent all of the pop-up ads that they used to be so prevalent. I've run an ad blocker for so long, though, I don't know if they're as prevalent anymore. But I use an ad blocker every day and have forever. And all this does is suppress those advertisements that would otherwise come up on your browser, whether as a new page, a new window, blow up and take up all your screen space, whatever it might be. It's another free tool, and it works very well. The last piece of information really that we have in here is about updating your devices, and this focuses primarily on Windows and Apple devices. And here, what I just wanted to point out is that it is important that you update the software, the operating system, the Windows operating system or the Apple operating system on your computers. In this example, in order to initiate it, and let me just preface this, in many instances, the machines today will tell you that they've got an update ready. Most of them will tell you you've got an update ready. This is, if you do not get that, and it's been a long time and you're curious, you can go into the settings. Down on the left-hand menu, there will be a menu, and one of those will be Windows Update. You click on that, and it will bring up this pop-up window, and it will run a check to see whether or not you've got updates pending or not. If you do, click Update. It will do its thing, and then sometimes it'll ask to restart. And if it asks to restart, restart it. It will then finish the updates, and you can log back into your computer, and it'll be up to date. And really, the same is true for Apple devices on Macs. You get to it a little differently. You click on the Apple, which then brings up the system settings, and now you're clicking on General. It's a little more complicated, General than software updates. The other thing that you could do is right here on this main menu, there's a little search bar, and you can just search for updates, which happens to be a little easier sometimes, I think. But the same takes effect. You get to the software updates, and it's going to say, yes, there's updates, or no, there's not any updates, and it's going to want to run its updates. We've put together additional videos that are on our website. This PowerPoint's on our website, as well as about a dozen more. Everything from how to do Excel and Word documents to basic computing tutorials. Really, we've got an awful lot out there. These are some videos on creating strong passwords and avoiding spam and phishing, a lot of what we've talked about today. And then we've also got some additional information out there to think about on the differences between email and web addresses, just to give you, if you ever had any questions. Again, these are reference tools for you, and there are many, many out there. I think that's probably the last thing I want to leave with you, is while we at Tech on Wheels are here to help you, many others are also here to help you. And there is a wealth of online information, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. And that's another reason why we're here. If you get into it and it's too much, come and see us. We are routinely here in the Pass area, Banning and Beaumont specifically, also up in Calamasa. On a monthly basis, we are here. And we are working on getting here at Sun Lakes going forward so we can be a resource for you and your neighbors as well. With that, let me see if there's any questions, or if now that the lights are on, you've woken back up. I know I go to sleep after lunch when they turn the lights off. Yes, ma'am. Here we go. We'll bring you a mic.
How secure or useful is a VPN? And how do you use it? A VPN.
Yes, a VPN
private
is a virtual private network is what the VPN stands for. And what that is doing is creating a private connection, a secure connection between you and your computer and a server or a host somewhere online that's supporting that for you. And then what happens is when you are doing what you're doing online, the world thinks you are the host, not your house. Really, it's a way for you to be invisible, or less visible is probably a better way to say it, because you're never really invisible. You're just less visible to the rest of the world because you are going through a very secure computing host service online. So I mentioned NordVPN as one of the tools that are out there. And what would happen in that instance is you would go online, create an account with NordVPN. It's an online tool. You log into that. And then what it looks like to the rest of the world is that you are conducting all of your online business as NordVPN, not as you as a person. So in my case, they wouldn't know that it's Tom necessarily here at Sun Lakes. They would think that I'm NordVPN, probably from LA or Phoenix, or it could be the East Coast for that matter, from some other location. It helps with some of the online security components, and it ensures that if you are going through, say, an airport public Wi-Fi, that your connection is secure, because everything that you do once you log into NordVPN or any of those VPN services from a public Wi-Fi network even is secure. It's a secure tunnel and a secure connection. All of the information you are transmitting out from your computer and receiving into your computer through that connection is encrypted. And that's the really useful tool, particularly if you travel a lot or if you are utilizing public Wi-Fi a lot. It's a useful tool. Great question. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Here we go.
Okay, you're saying you're here. Is there going to be a certain day of the month that you're going to be?
Aha, we are working on that.
Okay, and you will let us know.
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
This question is for people who have a PC at home versus a laptop. How will you service them?
Yeah, unfortunately, we can answer your questions, but we can't come to the house. And so it's an area that we would like to expand into in the future, but we simply don't have the resources to provide that level of service today, unfortunately. So if there are questions, I'd recommend that maybe you jot down some notes and we can help guide you through and answer those. We do have some laptops that we bring with us and see if we can maybe recreate some of the challenges that you're trying to overcome. And if that doesn't do it, then we're going to recommend that you probably reach out to somebody like the Geek Squad that can bring in an actual technician and work with you one-on-one in your home.
Thank you. You mentioned the ad blockers for the.
I'm sorry?
You mentioned the ad blockers.
Yes.
But you didn't give a name for maybe.
Oh, very good. Great question.
Thank you.
Here we go. It's called AdBlock Plus. It's the last one here on the bottom. And it's a free tool. They'll ask for a donation. You don't feel obligated to provide a donation. At a future date, if you like what has happened over a period of time, you can make a small donation. It really is, they're looking for $1 or $2 or something like that. But this is a great tool. I've used it for years. And it works on just about any browser, whether it's Microsoft or Google or Safari or anything like that. Well, I want to thank everybody for allowing me to come out today and allowing our team at Tech on Wheels to be here today. They're here in the back of the room to answer any questions that you have about your technology and about how to use it. I want to thank David and Supervisor Gutierrez for making this possible. I certainly want to thank you, Michelle, for inviting us out today. So thank you all very much.
David, did you want to, any other words, did you want to say anything?
Somebody had asked about when we're coming out and the dates and all that. I just wanted to share that all of the dates are posted on the website, and there will be a flyer specifically for your location with the different dates that they'll be coming. But one of the things I wanted to share is that one of the phenomenons that's happened since we started this program is that we have some people who are kind of frequent flyers that are going to different locations. Because like here, it's the Beaumont Senior Center, the Calamasa Senior Center, the Banning Senior Center, Four Seasons, here we're going to start. So there are people who are going to the different locations and taking advantage of the different dates we have available.
Thank you, David. Okay, well, that actually concludes our presentation. I just want to let everybody know we have our next presentation next month, November. Shannon, real quick. It is going to be November 11th? No, November 4th. It's November 4th. So it'll be here 1 to 3, and it is One Legacy, and it is Oregon Donors. Thank you, Oregon Donors. I was like, so it's going to be very interesting, and we have someone here that's very, very passionate about that. So she's going to be talking also. Okay, thank you, everyone.